What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the garage, and we're here for another live Thursday night show on the #1 tuning platform on the face of the planet. Yada da da da. And we're starting a little bit early because I'm already up here. So why not start a little bit early? What's going on, Cameron? Give some people a chance to be freaked out that we're starting so early. As they start to roll in. And then we'll go from there. What up, De La Soul? Yeah, 496 cubes, Jordan. Everybody. Let me know what is going on. Let's do this. Hey Josh, what up DZ? Hey Funny Muffler, Justin. Pow. What up, Joseph? Okay, what's new? Nothing's new on this side. I will say that we should have the 6-liter running this weekend. Fingers crossed, all goes well. See if I can get put into timeout today. Hey, you're just by asking, Jonathan, there's a good chance you will. I'm just teasing. So there will be some stuff. We'll shoot some video around the first startup and all that jazz for the 6-liter. Buick T-Types on the dyno, Josh, was sweet. Forge is crazy. Are you doing your class for HP? What month is this? October. We'll do one in November. How's that sound, De La Soul? Let me get the Monte Carlo out of the garage because that's taking up all my weekends right now, and then we can go from there. Question. My G8 made 650 horsepower, 630 torque on the dyno yesterday. Stock bottom end. Wasn't necessarily to think about Forge. What kind of power adder are you using 496? Because that's going to be really what determines going over to Forge. You're probably fine where you're at. Cylinder pressure is still somewhat under control. As long as IATs are staying down and you're not getting too crazy with the timing, you shouldn't run into any issues. It's whenever you get into boosting and things like that that you really got to look at going to forged pistons and rods. And of course, your crank's, good for 1,000 horsepower usually on an LS. So I wouldn't worry about it, but welcome, Mar. Welcome. As I said, you just ain't missing much around here. LSA 12 psi, E85, 73%, water math, 21 degrees. Yeah, man, you're safe. Your cylinder temp should be freaking phenomenal on that setup. So detonation shouldn't be a concern. Are you planning on modding beyond that? I'd say where you're at right now, you're perfectly safe. I mean, with that setup, I think you'd be perfectly safe up to, 900 horsepower before I would really get too concerned, as long as there wasn't any issues, any holes in the tune, stuff like that. What's up, Cole? So if you guys hadn't noticed, we are going to do a drawing tonight. We're going to do a drawing for a Goat Rope Garage shirt. So get your raffle tickets in. We've got 35 minutes. You got plenty of time. No hurry on that one. And whenever we give a shirt away, it's a little bit different because I have to order the shirt and it takes like 2 or 3 weeks for it to show up. Then I have to ship it, which generally takes a year or two. I'm just saying. Worried about the trans. You got the 6L80, I take it. That'll be the question. What up, Kim? Where you been? It's about time you showed up. Are you going to actually stay all night? Yeah, 6L80 can handle the power as long as the torque management's not been messed up. Hi, Hillary. Where you been, stranger? Livered dangerously 700 R4. Yeah, you know, manual 4L60. Rock and roll, brah. So. Ugh. So torque management on the trans side is what I'm worried about. The engine side, don't care about that torque management, but the trans has torque management where it sends a command to the ECU to pull power during shifts. And if you pull too much power or don't pull enough power during shifts, that's when you start tearing up 6L80s. I had a thought. I'll come back to it. Talk about scaling beyond 50% for injectors. Early E38 still hitting 63-pound limit when doing double half. Oh, God. Nate, what size injectors are you running? Oh. Tell me your whole setup. That's what I want to know because... Whew. Swap to a one-piece dry shaft LS swap gain high speed vibration is 70. There's a slide angle from the trans dry shaft with the bigger trans. Might go back to the two-piece. So the two-piece can help because it gives you more driveline angles, Jonathan, but I would check your pinion angle. And so essentially, if you're 2 degrees down, your pinion angle by default should be 2 degrees up. That's not necessarily true, though. You got to take in the type of suspension you have and how much pinion can move underneath acceleration. Is it just at cruising at 70? What up, DIY? Dual 525, 78, 75 TSP cam BTR input. And you're running 1050s. Man, Nate, you're to the point where you're going to need to go over to a Terminator and get off of that ECU, man. If that's an option, I'm going to tell you, you get into scaling. Scaling's all right the first time, but whenever you're having to do multiple scaling like you're doing, it skews cylinder air mass so bad that you just lose tunability. Oh, great. It's a GMT 900, so it's extra hard to ollie. So, what's your stoic set to right now? No, I mean, you hit a certain point on stock ECUs that it's just, you shouldn't be doing it. 241 rear gear in my Buick, man. That thing I'd be turning 600 RPMs on the highway. Oh, the only thing that might hold me up on the 6L or the 6-liter swap on the Monte Carlo is out of all the torque or flex plates I have, I don't have one for the long crank 6-liter, and I'm hoping the one off the big block will swap in and run. Yeah, Justin, you can't really tell much from the scope. I'll be interested to see if the compression test comes back good or if you're down a cylinder. What up, WS6? That'll be the question. Listen, there's 40 people in here and only 9 of you have joined the raffle. Come on now, get your tickets. ! Raffle. Well, yeah, you know, and if you're on low boost, I would say you're probably way overkill on your injectors, and I would suggest getting smaller injectors. But if you're going to turn it up, there's a good chance you might run into issues. Also, after the dyno discovered the coolant overflow had coolant all around it, did a head gasket today, no combustion in coolant, just concerned. I mean, if you did a head gasket check and you're not getting fumes in your coolant system, The thing may have just been too damn full, and it may have puked out some. Oh, you're on E85 to boot. So you're running strictly E85. You're not running flex fuel, anything like that. There we go. Now you people are getting your tickets. Yeah, I know. I like to throw people for a loop just to catch them off guard. Yeah, 496, you're probably fine. You know, if you want to get really off into the weeds, that's whenever you start putting pressure sensors in your cooling system, so you can see that it's maintaining whatever it is, 13 psi that's on your cap, and you can see spikes if you have blown head gaskets and stuff. Jonathan says, head gasket check is best done by using a leak down tester, which is a good thing for anybody that's doing modifications to have. Compression's great, leak down's probably a little better. Maxing out the manifold gauge and max out your air compressor. Put 150 in the cylinder at top dead center. And if you're not, you'll find out very quickly as you turn the motor over, and then look for bubbles in the radiator. Could you not do that at bottom dead center too, though, Jonathan? Gotcha, Nate. What up, Zoogie? Hey, Fuzzy, when'd you sneak in? Did I miss you? You're not, or you are doing that tomorrow, 496 leak down test. Jordan Ulrich asks, anybody know if there's a difference in the fuel rail L92 versus L94? That's a good question. I wouldn't think that there would be. Well, the intake manifolds are different. At least they used to be on the L83 versus the L86 or whatever. L85, whatever they call it. Valves may not seal at that crank position. I mean, it's 150 psi. Should be fine. Dude, you got a forged motor too? Nate, get off the factory ECU, man. GMT 900 or not. Just jerk the dashes out. Actually, what you do, here's what you do, is you put a Terminator on it, and you run the factory ECU and piggyback, and you split off all the signals to run the gauges, and everything else will be happy. Go back and look. There's got to be some on the Project Country Club videos where I ran a Terminator on the Cadillac XLR. You need to get over to a standalone though. But you can run a standalone alongside a factory ECU, and the factory ECU will still do all of the stuff that you're wanting to do, and then have the Terminator control the engine. Yes, two-piece will give you more forgiveness, because whenever you're taking two-piece, so a single piece you've got just two angles to worry about, and then you've got multiple angles, and theoretically you can take a two-piece and set up the angles on those where they completely cancel out and effectively, you know, get the best of both worlds, I guess. If I pull the dash, just never going back in. That's kind of how I feel on the Cutlass, but that's more because I just don't know where the hardware is. Hey, Gateway, good to see you, brother. Hey, are you going to PRI again this year, Gateway? What happens when the Terminator fails? Should mention the compression has been raised. Head shaved 30, has LS3 head gasket and ARP head bolts. Yeah, you're still fine. 10.9, you should be fine. I mean, I've ran 16 to 20 pounds of boost on a stock bottom end 5.3. That was 11.5 to 1. It's not that hard. Essentially, all you're doing, Nate, whenever you're doing something like that, is you're taking your cam, your crank, any of the other sensors that you need, and you're splitting them off to where they go both to the Holley and the factory ECU. That way, the factory ECU gets what it needs, but then you're taking your fuel output and your coil outputs and stuff like that and run them straight off Terminator. There's no outputs from the injectors and ignition on the factory ECU side. It still thinks that it's doing stuff. Just go in there and turn all the DTCs off. It'll still think it's controlling stuff, but in fact, you're just controlling everything off the Terminator. It's pretty straightforward. If you had your pick, would you do? If I had my pick between a Terminator and a Dominator, they would just, I would do Dominator regardless of all the I/O. For multiple reasons. Software is better. It's got 2 built-in wideband controllers. Like, the list goes on. Then it does have all the I/O. But the cost of entry is a lot. You're talking about you can get a full Terminator setup for like less than $2,000. A Dominator ECU alone costs $2,700. It's doable, Nate. You got to blaze the trail, brother. Okay, cool, man. I'll be back again this year, so I'll see you there, Gateway. Keep me posted, Nate. I'd be interested to hear what you go with, because you're getting, as I said, you're getting to that point where you're dealing with, listen, any of the ECUs that you have to do injector scaling on kind of sucks. But whenever you get to the point where you're at where you have to do a lot of scaling and essentially you're commanding like 40-1 at idle, yeah, because right now you're double half, and you're going to need to go like 75%, 25%, 25%, or whatever the math works out to in order to give you the headroom to run within the 64-pound injector limit. Great questions tonight. Great questions. Hey, there's still 20 people that have not gotten a ticket for the raffle. !Raffle to enter. The stupid little thing here, let me just pin it at the top here so you guys can see it. I want to make sure everybody has a chance to win a Goat Rope Garage shirt. It's going to be my choosing which one you get. I'll buy your size, but I'm really hoping to see Gateway Indy in a halter top. I guess start time hasn't even happened yet. Should we start the real show now? Why did my bong not work? There it goes. What year's your truck, Nate? You'd be walking around. Do I have any shirts here? I'll post a link so you can go look at all my. You can go to my store. I need to update the store. I've got stuff. I need to take down the Project Country Club stuff. The Summer of 72 shirt needs to be taken down. $2007. Theoretically, yeah, you could get an E38 to work. There's going to be, it's probably not going to be too much repinning. Because you're on what, an E40? Which one is that? Which ECU is that? What I miss? Yeah, buddy. Oh, no. What are you running right now? Oh, newer E38s. Yeah. You got one of the first gen E38s going to a newer E38. I would double check the pinout, but should not be any issues swapping over to a newer E38 or even an E6. Well, an E67 has an extra plug on it, so that's not necessarily an option, is it? Yeah, Project Country Club was one of my favorite quote unquote projects. And the logo was really good. I really like the logo with the all the fancy stuff in the background. Wish I could take credit for Silver Sur- No, man, we just started early, brother. What gear should we be doing dyno pulls with that 241 gear? Whichever gear is your 1-to-1 gear. Third. You always want your transmission and whatever 1.0 gear is for it. Your direct drive gear, as it were. And if possible, you want to lock up the torque converter. Listen, Mike, after the nightmares that I had trying to convert that thing to an E67 because I bought the wrong year. So, long story short, for the people that don't know, the Cadillac XLR, basically the Corvette, the Cadillac Corvette, the convertible, which I just think are absolutely gorgeous, still used a funky one-off ECU for 2 years. And I happened to find one of those 2 years. Later on, they ended up going to an E67 on all of them. Shouldn't need to mix the operating systems on E38. You should be able to get an E38 that just has all the features that you want on it. Plug it in and go. You may have to relicense it, but where are we at? I want to see an LSX 454 twin turbo swap DLR. XLR, I take it. Did you mean ELR or XLR? The nice thing about it is it's got a North Star in there, so the engine bay is plenty big enough. Honestly, if you want to go crazy, you should pull a North Star out and put a Coyote. Ford swap it. That would blow some heads. Yeah. 2007 it happened. It was a pain to get the 4L80 to work. Did you have to do some repinning on that, Jordan? LS9 versus LS3 head gaskets. Since winter's coming, maybe change the gasket and go with studs over bolts. Oh, the electric car. The new ELR. I was like, I don't even know what the hell an ELR is, but I don't know. Is there a big difference between the LS9 and LS3 head gaskets? Where can I get a $150 Coyote? Listen, Fords are going off the road every single day. You should be able to pull one out of either an F-150 or a Mustang GT, no problem. So is the LS9 thicker or thinner? The Coyote's going to turn into, like, in 5 years, you're going to see them everywhere. Believe that LS9 head gaskets are thicker. 9-layer. Okay. Well, I think probably damn near every car out there that's electric is light if you yank the batteries out. Could be fun to back half one of those and turn it into a big tire dragster. I'm just saying. Yeah, but when you're talking about that much difference on a head gasket, like That's what always gets me is like, oh, lower the compression so you run boost. Run the thicker head gasket. You're not lowering compression enough to make a difference. If you're not even achieving a point or a point of a point, I don't get that. Like, to lower compression, unless you're going to a cylinder head that's got a bigger area, or changing out the pistons, you're not really doing that much. Yeah, exactly. You're going from 0.55, from 0.51 to 0.55. You're not making a huge difference on compression right there. Yes, chamber. Thank you, Jerry. Dude, Exocation gutted a Tesla Model 3 Plaid like Leela. I can't say that word. It's neat and fast. But there's... well, yeah, because there's no transmission in them. Well, that's what the ghost says. The ghost says you're wasting your time if you're using... if you're using... God, I can't even think now. Head gaskets to adjust compression ratio. Honestly, you're really, unless you're changing the pistons and rods out, you're pretty much wasting time adjusting compression ratio, period. Because even on heads that have different chamber volumes, they're not making that big of a difference. They are, but we're talking, you're not picking up, you might be able to get half a point, I would think, at most, jockeying all that stuff around. So you're going from 10.5 down to 10. And that's quite a bit, theoretically, but you also have to look at dynamic compression ratio and how the fact that it spikes up as boost goes up. And so that half a point of static compression ratio doesn't make a big deal in the long run of things. So whenever we talk about static versus dynamic and running a low compression motor on boost, so we drop a motor down to 9.5 or 9 to 1, so we can run a lot of boost. We're talking about on standard compression ratio, maybe 10.5 or 11 to 1, you can run 16 to 20 psi as long as you have good cylinder temp control. Temperature control is the biggest, most important thing on the face of the planet. Temp control matters more than compression ratio, matters more than anything else. Trust me on this one, because of that. Whenever we start getting all that stuff, so temp control is the most important thing. So you go from 10.5, 11 down to 9, and now you're running, instead of 16 to 20, you're running 26 pounds of boost. But you still have the same problem that you had on the other side. You're shifting or tilting the power band. So you might peak out a little bit, but you're losing some bottom end. I mean, you're getting me off on a tangent. Get me on my soapbox. There you go. Silver Surfer said it really well. Use them to adjust squish and quench, not compression ratio. 100 mile an hour on a 55 mile an hour back road hitting 10 psi. Don't worry about the compression. Just add an E85 and send it. And what it is it all boils down to pre-detonation is the result of temperature. Cylinder temperature, as we increase dynamic compression ratio, as we compress more air into the same small area, the temperature goes up. And if we can control that temperature as we're compressing it, we're not going to get detonation, things like that. So, where was I? Well, Mike, you bring up a great point. Old guys double-stacked head gaskets with A71 blowers. But they didn't know what they didn't know. So, that's one of those myths that somebody put out there and is like, oh, if I do this, my motor doesn't blow up. But if I don't do it, well, you're talking about if you just barely had the distributor tweaked advanced a little bit too much. That's what was blowing the motor up. Not the fact that you only had one head gasket, or putting two in there made that difference, you know. Out of purple what, Kim? Enlighten me. Kyle, 2-bar or 3-bar map for stock LSA blower. I believe they put around. I mean, listen, as far as map selection goes, you want to run the smallest one that covers the maximum amount of boost that you're going to run. So if you're going to run less than 14.7 psi of boost, stick to a 2-bar. You lose resolution whenever you go up to 3 bars. You just don't want to do that. Know offhand the year that the E38s went to the 127 limit. 2008, right? Somebody back me up. 2008. No, I enjoy it. What up, John? How you doing, brother? What air fuel ratio is good to run with E85? Running 0.8 lambda on gas. Water math, 0.82. Yeah, you're plenty safe. With your setup, I'd probably stay at like 0.82. 0.85 on direct injection motors that are boosted is kind of my cutoff. But, yeah, 0.8. And honestly, what you're doing is correct. Richer on gas, a little bit leaner on E85 because you've got better cylinder cooling with the E85 and the water methanol injection. Been watching a few people on YouTube and they've been having problems with Holly with corrupted files. That won't open our Lowry tune. Had to put a new file in. Yeah, that's typical Holly BS. In fact, I think Justin had that problem with his C10 the other day where he had to reflash file in. What up, Andrew? Don't worry, you're not late. We started early. Yeah, stick with the 2-bar, Levi. Even to the point of like, if you exceed that somehow, go to a 2.5 if you can find one or something. Well, you need to retune it if you add methanol. Depends. I'm going to say depends because you can run methanol without retuning if you're going with a small enough injection shot. And you can see significant cooling with even a pretty small one. So like on the Z06, whenever I still had it, I need to call that guy, by the way. He messaged me the other day. I ran not the smallest nozzle that I could on that one, but I ran a very small nozzle and it didn't skew the wide open throttle AFRs that much, but it was seen like a 15-degree cooler intake temp because of it. So it was enough to get the cooling effect without causing a bunch of fueling issues. So start small, Joshua, and then step it up to see the lower IATs, and then watch your AFRs as you're going. Yeah. Let's see here. We got almost 50 people in here. I got 33 people on the raffle. It's pinned to the top. Free Goat Rope Garage t-shirt raffle is going on. Use exclamation point raffle. I guess it's probably over. I don't know. Which side is it on? Is it up there? Or is it up there? Oh. Where do you think the best spot for a flex sensor? There's a lot of scuttlebutt about this. I like it anywhere before the injectors. The one place I'll say the one place I don't like it is on the return line. But a lot of people say run on the return line because it's not restricting flow. And I understand that side of it too. And honestly, things are moving fast enough. If you have a return system, granted, if you're running one that does not have a return system, it's going to be on the pressure side. So it's not an issue there. But it really doesn't matter. You got to think of the fuel system pre-regulator as pressurized. That's not going to be a restriction compared to the injectors themselves. Those are the main restriction in those lines. And then downstream of it, if you're running return, is probably returning enough fuel that it's updating fast enough that's not going to be an issue. Dude, that's what I'm talking about. Negative 25 degree washer fluid. The blue stuff is perfect. It's like 30% methanol. It's just enough to keep it from freezing below zero. Runs like a dream. E38, yeah, you should. Well, I don't. E38s, do they even have a 2-bar the later generation? Because they're virtual volumetric efficiency, so you should be able to set those up. Oh, you're talking about on the 2-bar OS patch to make it more like a standard VE table. I'm on the fence whether I like that OS patch, to be honest with you. There we go. There we go. Now we're looking a little better. We almost got 40 people in. Yeah, I know. I said, I don't. I'm on the fence. Didn't install video on what? If it was something that I did prior to this year, I probably did. If it's something I did this year, I've not shut a lot of install videos. E85 sensor, yeah, I think there's probably one on there. Yeah, it is called Adding Flex Fuel to the Z06 and Updating the Tune. And then I've got an older one that is Flex Fuel Sensor Install and Programming for GM vehicles. That's the whenever I added Flex Fuel to the Super Auto, which would have been in the factory spot, which was down after the fuel filter. Got 3.5 minutes left to get in on the short drawing. Heads up, if you're not in, exclamation point Raffle. I have a dash 10 bypass sensor housing. I redid fuel line, moved it to the return. Yeah, as I said, if you're running a return like that, it's probably not an issue because you're moving enough fuel that it's going to get through there. Oh, yeah. Jerry says, fun fact, letting E85 quarter tank sit for a few months can cause fuel pump stock clogging issues. It looked like he was smuggling cocaine in his fuel tank. Yeah. Let's just say that he was having some issues. Can I remove a narrowband sensor wired in a wideband in its place? Able to get the reading. So, Cameron, you can do it a couple ways. For one, whenever we are tuning, initially we're disabling the factory sensors because we don't want them adjusting things while we're making adjustments. So, it's not a big ordeal to take one of the narrowbands out. Another option is there are ones that have the ability to simulate a narrowband, and essentially you can hook those up. I don't remember. I did it on the Corvette. Did I do a video on it? Now you got me searching again. Garage narrowband wideband. I don't know if I did the video on that one. I don't think I did. But I did do it. And so I am going to do it again. So I will do a video on it. I'm going to do it on the Viper. In fact, I'm replacing both the front sensors on the Viper with a unit that puts wide bands in there, but will simulate the narrow bands. And so I will do it on that. When we're going to start tuning the Viper? Soon as the Monte Carlo's gone. So if I get the Monte Carlo gone this weekend and we get the Viper back, because the exhaust is going to be here in the next couple of days for the Viper, we will start diving into tuning on the Viper, which is basically just Gen 3 LS tuning. It's so simple. Well, just I've only got one garage spot right now because of the stupid Cutlass. No, I'm not abandoning it. I've got to get it out of the garage so I can get the Viper in its place, is what I'm saying. No, it's not going anywhere. If you remove a narrowband, put a wideband in its place, would leave the narrowband plugged in, zip tied out of the way, cause any issues? Yeah, you'll probably kill the sensor. I would just unhook it and kill the DTCs while you're tuning. Then when you're done, turn them back on and put it back in. So there's no reason to have it there. Actually kill the DTCs before you unhook it, or you'll get permanents. If you're not worried about permanent DTCs, which will go away whenever you put it back, I wouldn't worry about it. So, let's see here. CTS V-Wagon on full 85s, half for over a year, tank half full, whole full lines. Going through divorce when we got back to the car, had to redo everything. Ugh. Yeah. So, yeah, I've got to, this winter, I've got to get work done on the Cutlass. I've got to get it on wheels, even if I just push it off a cliff. Because let's just say I'm to the point now, I've got 3 storage units right now. I paid for the unit that the Nova is in. It cost me $310 for that unit for 1 month. The other ones aren't quite to that price yet. Since I've had that one the longest, it's gone up the most. My storage place is crazy. Okay. What do they say? Yeah, you can't ever get enough storage. What are we doing here? Da, 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 da. No, I don't want Santa sounds as we.
What's the Christmas stuff? No, let's find it. Let's get do it.
Good one. Okay, the fire dragon. I don't need a bigger house, I need a bigger shop. Okay. Announcing the winner of the Go Road Garage shirts. Ultralight 447. You still hear Ultralight? You gotta be present to win. Probably still here. You're here to say something in the chat. What did you hear from the Ultralight? Oh, there you go.
Okay. Ultralight, send me an email through the website. You can go to the website, whatever. Send me an email with your details, your address, your shirt size, all that jazz. I will get a shirt ordered for you and on the way. And we'll go from there. Congratulations. Okay. Okay, LY6, 6.0, 9.5 to 1 compression with the Magri 2300, 12 PSI, run 93 octane. Previous tuner had, 0.7. Wow. 0.75 lambda at 14 degrees of timing. Crazy conservative is correct. KA power. Crazy conservative. Yeah, so lean that thing out. And at 12 psi, you know, you could probably get close to 20 on that before you start having some issues on timing. But you're missing out on a significant amount of power on that setup. So, yeah, like a whole different car with correct tune. I don't think my voice changing button's working. This makes me mad.
Did I mess this up and set the toggle?
You guys are like, I don't care. What are you doing, dummy?
That's weird. Technology sucks. Okay, great question, Fuzzy. Unlimited budget. What engine would I build? It would probably be one of those crazy 1,000 cubic inch big blocks. Who makes those? Sonny Leonard, right? 21 horsepower. Yeah, no, not Speed Wars. Is it on now? I thought I turned it off. 1,000 cubic inch, 21 horsepower naturally aspirated. For the horde.
No. Not a Proline Hemi. This is a big block Chevy with Hemi heads, obviously. Basically, it's going to be Hemi heads. You couldn't pay me to run an SMX motor in any of my stuff. I won't even get the soapbox out for that. I'm just saying. There are reasons. Though I was happy to see that Tom Bailey's car did finish a drag and drive event, but that was with his big block in there, not his SMX motor. Yeah, Proline. Proline would be another good answer. I'd like to know how much they are. $85,000 for a used one. $85,000 for a used one. Woo! Man, they're gorgeous though. Look at all that billet. What about a Hellcat Swap Viper? No. You don't take a V10 out to put a V8 in. You just supercharge the V10. See, this is what I love about these live chats, because Levi Shepard's asking questions, NKA Power's answering them. I appreciate you guys also sharing your knowledge with each other. Yes, I love watching what Rob Dom's doing. No, the Viper's getting supercharged. Spoilers. Spoilers. It's going to be happening next month. Viper's getting supercharged. Yeah. It's not a truck motor. Come on, ICT car guy. You sound like everybody that wants to hate. The Silverado's getting supercharged. I'll be honest with you. I'm probably a little bit more excited about putting the Whipple on the new Silverado. That's the truth, man. Those billet motors are gorgeous. Okay, listen. It's 8:27. We started like 20 minutes early. So let's wrap it up. Don't really know anything about the V10s. Are they forged? Yeah, I think they are. Forged pistons, forged rods, but I think the pistons may not be. Hey, for $28,000, you can go to a 9-liter with all forged internals. What's funny about that, I could spend $28,000 to get a bigger motor in my Viper, and it would still be smaller than the one that is in the Nova. Hellcat, listen, Dodge, tuning, that doesn't include the Viper because the Vipers obviously are completely different, but Dodge tuning sucks. That's all I'll say about that. I'm going to be doing some video on Dodge tuning very soon. Very soon. But, okay, that's it. We're wrapping it. You guys know the drill. Throw in all of your favorite stuff. Mine's the goat doing a burnout. You guys know the drill. Thanks for stopping by the garage. Remember, ABT always be tuning. Uh-oh. Why is my transition not working? Oh no!